An important tool used by the Triage Project is called the MGS Water Well and Parcel Viewer, which integrates county parcels and water wells into one program with many other included benefits. In this video, we will be going over how the program was created and its uses for the Triage Project, along with a guide to how the Parcel Viewer is used. One of the Triage Project's many ongoing projects is the digital input and validation of paper logs. At the beginning of the project, the most used applications were WellLogic, which contains all the digitized and validated well logs, the Water Well Viewer, which features the wells inputted based on their coordinates, and county parcel viewers. The MGS Water Well and Parcel Viewer combines the geographic locations of all the wells currently inputted, public land survey boundaries, parcel lines of properties, and other vital information about properties and wells. Sharing some more in-depth information about the creation, features, and potential applications of the MGS Water Well and Parcel Viewer is Mapping Coordinator Matt.
Hello everyone. So I've been asked to talk about a little bit about the parcel viewer that I developed, that the Michigan Geological Survey is using, and kind of talking about what we're using it for and how it's being used, and how it came to be.
How was the Parcel Viewer conceived/created?
When I was working on the project, looking at the digital input side of things and the location validation side of things, the location information for a lot of these wells depended on the need for parcel data. Being able to understand like the boundaries of the parcels, being able to understand the certain characteristics about the parcel. What I was finding when I was going through the general workflow process is that a lot of these parcel viewers were slightly different to each other depending on the county that they were located in. Some of them were very good, having a lot of information, and some of them not so much. And so when I was working through this, I thought to myself, there has to be a way that we can do this where everything is in the same formatting and has the same accessibility and the same user friendliness for each county within the state of Michigan, which is where I got the idea to be able to put together a parcel viewer of our own.
What kind of information goes into the Parcel Viewer?
The main things that go into the parcel viewer are the actual boundaries themselves. So it provides the information of what the tax number is. Each parcel is given a specific tax identification number that gives it its unique identifier, so that there is no one parcel that is exactly alike. Who owns it, the owner information, what actually is the parcel being used for. So is it a residential property? Is it vacant? Is it currently being lived in? Is it a commercial property? Is it agricultural? Or when there was a first building placed there? So each parcel, regardless of its shape or its size, has a central latitude and longitude, and so that's also recorded on the parcel viewer as well. Where these latitude and longitudes are used to be able to help us gauge if we're in the right parcel or not, mostly looking at if a water well is within the given address parcel boundaries, and then a link to whatever county office is providing information. So say if the ownership of the parcel changes, then that information will be recorded. Again, some counties are better than others in terms of how much they will allow you to see at no cost. But in any case, it still gives you the link to be able to see whether or not that parcel is real or if it's had an update since. There's also the state-operated water well features, so giving you the exact location of the water wells. These water wells are maintained and updated by the state of Michigan, and these are all updated and put into our web map in order to see how these water wells are changing and if there's anything within the remote area of a specific parcel. And then any other sort of demographic information. The Public Land Survey has section designations for each county or each township, and so those are also labeled in there as well.
How does the Parcel Viewer tie into the Triage Project?
What we're looking for triage is being able to designate whether or not a well is in the correct location or if it needs to be moved. This parcel viewer helps us to identify whether or not those water wells that exist in the database are within the correct parcel or if they're not. being able to have this sort of information, being able to use it for the triage project is an immense help, and being able to use this in order to tie in both the location of the parcel and the location of the water well, and being able to compare the two is really what's driving a lot of these wells to be put in their correct place. This is really the biggest tool that we have at our disposal in order to figure out if a well is in the correct place or not.
As mentioned, the MGS Parcel Viewer works with contributions from other parcel viewers and county information. These contributors include Regrid Parcel Data, county offices for parcel information, and Microsoft Bing, specifically for the building footprint data. This information is shown in the following tutorial of the uses and benefits within the MGS Parcel Viewer.
MGS Waterwell and Parcel Viewer is the main website used by the Triage team members working on location validation and digital input of water wells in Michigan, and was created by mapping coordinator Matt Bell. We hope that this product will be a beneficial tool for the public as well. MGS Parcel Viewer is a very user-friendly tool that allows you to search for properties with the added benefit of including data from the Eagle Water Well Viewer. This product is still being developed with more data being added as wells are validated by the triage team county by county. Currently, 10 counties have been validated and added to the Parcel Viewer. When first opening the Parcel Viewer, make sure to choose one of the two options from the search bar. Click on the drop-down and choose from ArcGIS World or Parcel Viewer. From the default map view, you can scroll in a little bit further. County boundaries are indicated by a solid black line, while city and township lines are going to be indicated by these dashed black lines. Any areas with a pink overlay indicate a city zone. And zooming in even further, you'll see that these solid red lines are going to indicate the PLSS sections. All of this information can be found in the legend in the expandable sidebar over here. In the default base map, building footprints, indicated by this pinkish purplish color, and property boundaries or the parcel data are outlined in this orangish line, will show up unless the layer has been turned off. And that layer can be found in the expandable menu bar over here. Other layers that can be added or removed include the county boundaries, townships and cities, and the PLSS sections. All of these layers will be turned on when first loading the Parcel Viewer and can be easily turned off if necessary. Or turned back on when you need them. Another useful tool within the layer list is the transparency. So as long as you're looking at an area with building footprints, if you go and click on the three dots next to building footprints, you can click on transparency and adjust it using this sliding bar here. And that will work for any of these layers. Depending on what kind of information you're looking for, you are also able to change the base map from this expandable menu over here. Imagery hybrid is probably the most helpful when looking for other buildings on the property, such as well houses, as those may not show up with the building footprints. Other useful maps may be navigation, depending on what you're looking for, and even these topo maps down here at the bottom, but there are many options to choose from. When searching for an address, you can search by street name, city, intersections, full address, and even incorrect address. If the map is not already in the general area of the address location, adding the city to the search bar will pull up the correct location. An example of this, I'll just search the street. As you can see, it pulls up a lot of options. So if you add the city, that should at least pull up that street, the general area for this location. This may not be super helpful if the road is very long. As you can see, Brigham Street here is pretty long, so it's not going to give you a good indication of where that house might be. If you are already in that general area, the search bar should open up a list of addresses that match your search. So if I add the house number to this, I had West Brigham, but this pulls up option for both. So I'll click on this one. It will take you to this location. In the case of incorrect address, You can search, if you just have a partial address, you can search this as well. Again, this will bring you to the general area. And this is in the case of incorrect address, partial address, or an address that may no longer exist. You'll still get pulled to the area where the address can be found. Once the full address has been entered or found in the drop-down list, the parcel viewer will pull up the property with a basic information box seen here. Usually a marker will show up in the center of the building, but it may occasionally show up in the middle of the property if there are no buildings or multiple buildings on the property. Further clicking on the property will pull up more information. This includes county and township, and just below this is the parcel ID or the tax number. It also includes property address, owner information. Occasionally, this owner address may be different than the property address. It may also include a lot number if available. We are trying to work towards getting all lot numbers available where possible. You've also got your constructed and latitude and longitude coordinates here. Typically, this latitude and longitude here is going to be centered on the property, but if you want more specific latitude and longitude information, you can click on the building and this will be centered on the building. Going back to all of this information. If you're looking for more info, you can also find a web link to the Parcel link here that will take you to the BSNA website, which houses a lot of useful information. This link can contain the year built, owner information if available, tax information. Scrolling down, got general tax information for the most recent year, as well as land information, sales history, building information, a lot of that necessary stuff depending on what you're looking for. Past owners can also be found on this webpage, but just be aware that this may not be available for all parcels as some counties and townships may be behind a paywall. Additional data from Eagle's Waterwell Viewer can be added as layers. Remember, that can be found over here in this expandable menu. If you know the general area that you are working in, you can select that specific layer to view the location of wells in this area. I am in the southwest region of Michigan. You can click on the well and it will pull up the same information that the Eagle Waterwell Viewer contains. This is the well for the property that I've input already. It pulls up a PDF link that you can click on to view, and you can also click on the well logic entry. As long as you are logged in, it will pull you to the well logic entry, but you cannot modify from these windows. You would have to go search for the well ID from the home page to be able to modify this. There's also a measurement tool that can be found just below the search bar. You can choose from many different units when measuring distance. Click once to choose a starting point, and you can move in pretty much any direction. If you click and hold down, you can move the map while not editing the measuring tool. So move it over here, and then you can continue measuring once you have put down the map. You can move around just a little bit more. This helps if you've got to go further than you're currently zoomed in. Once you've found your endpoint, you can either click once and measure if you have to go in a different direction. So if you've got two different directions, you can measure again. And then once you've gotten to your final point, you can double click to end that measuring distance. The lat long tool also allows you to drop a point. So this is very helpful if you need a specific location within a parcel and you can copy and date at that point for use. So in case you're actually looking for, say, if this is a well house or you have specific direction location information that's not actually on the house, you could put down this point and then copy and paste that latitude and longitude for use. Lastly, there are links to the MGS YouTube channel and the WMU MGS webpage if you would like more information about what the Triage team has been working on.
With this video, we hope you have learned more about the MGS Parcel Viewer and what it does for the Triage Project and Eagle. Currently, the Parcel Viewer is not for civil use, but it plays a huge role in the work done to bring validated well information to the public. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to rock the like and subscribe button.